Welcome to MacStories Unwind, a weekly review of everything MacStories and more. Today's show is brought to you by Musins. I'm John Voorhees, and with me is Federico Vitici. Happy Friday, Federico.
Hello, John. Happy Friday. How are you?
Very good, very good. You know what? We got to get this done because I know that you've got a date with a glass of wine, and maybe I may have a similar engagement later today. So let's dive into this week's stories. I want to talk right off the bat about two of my favorite photo editors. One is Darkroom, which is now, if you don't know, is also on the Mac. It started out on the iPad and iPhone, but it's also available on the Mac as well now. And then Pixelmator Pro. But Darkroom, first things first, added a new feature called Clarity.
Oh, this is so cool. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's really neat. I mean, what I really love about Darkroom is how simple it is to use and how they pack such sophisticated features behind something as simple as a slider. And this slider, which is in the photo editing panel, is called Clarity. And if you slide it to the right, you get more contrast and detail in your photo. If you slide it to the left, you get less. Now, it's not uniform across the picture, though, because, for instance, if you slide to the left and smooth things out, if you have a portrait, for instance, it'll smooth the person's skin first, but not the detail in their hair or their eyes. And if you go the other way and make it more contrasty, it does that to certain aspects like hair, for instance, in a portrait, or when you'd do a landscape photo. And I tried this with some skyscrapers in downtown Chicago. It was very clear as I was sliding it, you could see it bringing out the definition of the frames around windows and the skyscrapers, but not, sharpening certain other aspects of the photo. So it's a really neat feature. It's just one tool of many in Darkroom, but it's a great addition and worth checking out. Then in Pixelmator Pro, that app, first of all, is on sale for 50% off, which is a terrific deal. And this is one of my favorite apps that I use almost every day for various screenshots and things on MacStories. It teased something called ML Crop. And Pixelmator's been doing an awful lot of this where they're relying on machine learning for various tools in the app. And this is, of course, the Mac app, Pixelmator Pro. And the ML Crop, what it does is it analyzes the photo and suggests a crop for you. So maybe you have a person standing on the left side of a horizontal photo. It might suggest converting that to more of a vertical aspect ratio automatically using the machine learning. So that's not out yet, but it's coming soon. There's some other things that they've teased in the past that are coming in Pixelmator Pro, but it looks like it's going to be a really nice update. And if you haven't checked it out yet, now is a good time because it's 50% off. Federico, we had a new flagship Apple store open this week right in your backyard. So why don't you tell us about the new store in Rome?
I wish it was my backyard, but
I know it's not quite your backyard.
Figuratively speaking, sure. There's a new flagship Apple store opening in Via del Corso, which is a super central shopping district in Rome, where all the fancy stores and boutiques are located. It's this is the street that connects John, you've been there, Piazza del Popolo. There's on one end of the Via del Corso, and there's the altar of the fatherland at the opposite direction. Right. It's absolutely stunning location, and Apple has taken this 19th century building named Palazzo Marignoli, which used to be, I believe there used to be one of these popular historic coffee shops before Apple took over, renovated the whole thing, used beautiful materials such as the Carrara marble, which is the kind of stone that is really key to a lot of historical buildings in Rome and in Italy in general. It's the Italian stone, I would say. And they have completely renovated the place, and it's opening soon. Official signs went up today. We have details at MacStories, including the official logo. The tagline of the store is, in English, would be "Creative Inside." And it's really a reflection of, like, Apple is trying to blend the cultural history of the location, right, of Rome and Italy in general, with their approach to creativity.
Right.
So in theory, you will once in-person events will be possible again. This Apple Store obviously will be home to various creative initiatives like the workshops that Apple do. It's go check out the photos at MacStories. It's a beautiful location. I absolutely cannot wait to visit this one. Also because it's been well over a year since Sylvia and I just took a walk by the center of Rome. It's been a long time.
It really has. I ran across the other day some of the pictures that I took when I was with you, and very not that far from this location, and it was just packed with hundreds and hundreds of people, and it was so strange to see all those people.
It's strange, right?
Because I've seen some of the pictures in the since then during the pandemic of central Rome, and there's nobody around, which is such a strange thing because Rome is always such a bustling city.
So this is totally unrelated, but on the topic of central Rome, a few days ago I installed this app called Wombat Cam. I want to write about it in MacStories Weekly at some point. Basically, this is a widget utility that lets you preview the static JPEG of public webcams. So the way this works is, obviously on the internet, there's a lot of public webcams from all kinds of cities and locations around the world, right? And the way those webcam feeds work is you can watch the live video, but there's also usually a static JPEG preview that is refreshed every few minutes, right? So if you can find the URL of that JPEG preview, and if you paste it in Wombat Cam and then create a widget for it, the widget will automatically update throughout the day to show you the latest snapshot from a public webcam. So I created a page on my iPhone showing a webcam preview that is updated every 10 minutes or so of Piazza di Spagna, the Spanish steps in Rome. And it's nice to see people actually return there. It's not as packed as before. Obviously, there's no tourists, right? It's just Italian people right now, but I can see that they are coming back.
Well, that's good.
And I can also see that there's a lot more police than before. Obviously, they're checking that everybody's wearing masks and that they're not gathering in large groups and all that. But it's fun to see, central Rome being populated again. And
it's coming back to life, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, slowly, but it is.
All right, that's good to hear. All right, I want to tell you a little bit about an app called Pok. And Pok is a new app from Snowman. Now, Snowman has been incubating for the last few years a brand new creative studio within Snowman called Pok. And the app, Pok Playroom, is coming out on the 20th next week. And it's an app for young kids. It's got all sorts of different toys that you can play with. There's a drawing component. There is a cityscape component where you can drag the people and the animals and the cars and vehicles around, and they are all responsive and interactive. It's really nicely done, and it doesn't require language skills, so even a really young kid can use it. And there's no real UI, no Chrome or anything. So there's no need to understand those sorts of concepts in order to use it. And I've been playing around with the beta. I'll have more to say when it's actually out because it's still under embargo. But this week they did announce the studio and they did share a trailer. So check out the story in MacStories because we've got the trailer there and some more details about what the app is all about.
And lastly, I want to mention this link post that I had on MacStories a few days ago titled Shortcuts Needs a Notification Toggle. And it's just exactly like that's what it is. Like I'm arguing in favor of Apple adding a way for users to disable those annoying notifications that you get every time you want to run a shortcut from the home screen or from the share sheet or from search, from those places. The little confirmation banner that you get at the end with the check mark. I cannot stand that banner anymore. It blocks the UI. It's displayed every time. We're going to talk about this topic some more in the upcoming episode of App Stories out on Monday. But yes, go check out that link post if you want to see my thoughts on the
Yeah,
issue.
I feel like it's one of those features that kind of punishes you for being a heavy shortcuts user.
For
right?
using the thing. It punishes you for using the feature
Right.
itself.
The more you
Yes.
use it, the more annoying it is. All right.
Yep.
On Club Mac Stories this week, Federico, I did something that I have not done more than maybe once or twice before, which is I wrote
yes.
pretty much the whole thing this week.
I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to be sorry because Federico's working on a very big project and needed a little help on Weekly this week. He did some apps. He covered some apps, but I wrote about 3 things mainly. Plus, we did a giveaway, and the giveaway was with Morpho Converter, which is a brand new, neat conversion app that takes a real different take on converting both units and currencies. But I wrote about Darkroom, which I already talked about a little bit in this episode, because it's an app that we've covered a lot ever since version 4 on MacStories, but we had never recommended it in as one of our recommended apps in Weekly. So I thought it was time to do that because I really like the app. I also talked about how to record streaming video from streaming video services like, Hulu and Disney Plus and HBO Max, all those kind of things, Netflix, using a service called PlayOn and the Channels app. It's a really neat service that allows you to record in up to 1080p, and then you've just got those video files, to time shift them and watch them whenever you want. So it's cool, and I've explained how that works and why that's apparently legal, at least in the United States. And then finally, I talked a little bit about inboxes, and this is kind of, I guess, the anti-inbox zero story in that I feel like at various times when I've used RSS and Twitter that I've been a completionist and felt like I was treating those things as inboxes, and I don't anymore. And I shared some tips as to how to avoid doing that and why it's really just not necessary, and ways to get the most out of both RSS and Twitter without feeling like you need to read every single thing. So kind of a big picture productivity story, but I felt like it was time to kind of tie together both Twitter and RSS because they've always been in a way tied together in terms, at least in my mind, with how I discover new reading material.
And on App Stories this week, we started our series of wishes for WWDC. So we're going to take a look at all the OS updates that we will likely see at WWDC in a few weeks. We started with macOS. We talked about our wishes for macOS 12. Obviously, John, as a Mac user, has more wishes than I do, but I participated with some of my wishes.
Everybody has wishes.
Everybody does. So we started with macOS. There's going to be more OS updates, obviously. We're also going to do something with watchOS and tvOS, maybe something fun. We'll see. But this is the first episode in a mini-series that will take us from here to WWDC, which is less than a month away. Oh my God, it's happening again.
It's very, very soon.
Oh boy, yeah.
All right, Federico, let me tell you about our sponsor for this episode, and that is Musins, the beautiful music player for the iPhone. Musins brings your music collection and Apple Music's entire catalog to life with stunning animated artwork. The app has been built from the ground up to take advantage of Apple's latest Swift UI frameworks and modern features. Whether you're playing your favorite album or something from your own library, or you're accessing all of Apple Music, Musins lets you do it in a simple, elegant way. The Home tab is the perfect place to start because that's where you've got thoughtfully organized sections that feature things like playlists, albums, recently played material, top charts, recommendations, and a whole lot more. The outstanding design, though, is what really sets Musins apart. You tap on an album, and it opens with this delightful animation that reveals a vinyl record emerging from the artwork. And when you start playback, the album art starts spinning and rotating and providing a fun, dynamic turntable-like experience, which can be fully customized too. Musins makes great use of intuitive gestures, making it effortless to build your playback queue. Together, these things, with the incredible design and deep feature set, make Musins an outstanding way to enjoy your favorite music. Download Musins today from the App Store. It's just $3.99. I'll put a link in the show notes. Our thanks to Musins for their support of the show. All right, Federico, let's do those Unwind picks. And we've got some music for people this week because you and I have been busy with projects, and I think we've both mostly been listening to a lot of music this week. What do you have for me?
Yeah, well, the thing is, my pick is not really for unwinding. It's really a pick if you need to be energetic and hyper focused on things. It's a metal core album. So this is the latest album by I believe, British band called While She Sleeps, and the album is named Sleeps Society. It's a metalcore album. There's lots of screaming and loud guitars and drums. I mean, what would you expect, right? It's really well done. It's that kind of. This was actually mentioned by Jason on Chorus FM, which is my favorite music website. It's got that melodic approach to metalcore that I really appreciate. So usually it's like a combination of screaming, sure, but also a melodic chorus, for example, that you can sing along to. So if you're into that kind of stuff, which maybe, I don't know, John was surprised that I was into this kind of music. I listen to all kinds of music. There's a very few genres of music that I cannot listen to, but otherwise I'm a sponge for all kinds of music. And there's a few times of the year when I need this kind of music. And if you feel like you need a melodic metalcore album, you cannot go wrong with this one.
All right. Well, that sounds good. I guess, you should definitely listen to that link I sent you earlier today, because Frank Turner is working on a new album, and he has,
Nice.
We interviewed him for Dialogue back in the day, and he's very much kind of an acoustic, almost folk type singer-songwriter category these days, but he started out at doing metal and punk and that kind of thing, and his latest song called The Gathering is very much in the punk part of his catalog. And I think, if you're in the mood for your metalcore, I think you'll probably like that song as well. So I'll link that in the show notes as well. But my pick is not that single from Frank Turner. It's Blood Bunny by Chloe Moriando. This is, I guess I would describe this as sad girl alt pop. It's a genre that's a very specific genre, I guess. I did kind of describe one of the songs to you today as kind of like Driver's License by Olivia Rodrigo, but on a lot of caffeine, many cups of coffee.
Okay.
It's very energetic, a lot of guitars.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I think you'll like this a lot. She got her start on YouTube and then jumped to kind of mainstream music making, I guess. And there's some great tracks here. There's Really Don't Care, Girl on TV, and Body Bag. Those are three of my favorites. And I don't know, they're incredibly energetic, great hooks, and the kind of music that I enjoy kind of starting my day with, just because it kind of gets me up and feeling energetic and keeps me going.
Nice.
All right, Federico, that's it for another week at MacStories.net. I want to thank our sponsor again, and that is Musins. You can find me and Federico over at MacStories.net. Federico is on Twitter and Instagram. You can always find him there, where he's at Viticci, that's VITICCI, and I'm at John Voorhees, JOHN VOORHEES. Talk to you next Friday, Federico.
Ciao, John.